September is lining up to be the most crucial month for crypto this year, with bullish signals flashing. Is this the start of a second leg of the bull run, or is this the final pump that you should sell all your coins into? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be revealing my thoughts on how the market will move this month and the remainder of this year. Now you should listen to me because last September, my analysis predicted the pinpoint bottom before the most bullish period in crypto history. Bitcoin is up well over 100% since then, and following this analysis made tremendous gains throughout Q4 last year. Also, just before we go any further, this channel has a daily giveaway of 1 million SHIB tokens. To enter, all you have to do is be subscribed to this channel, like this video, and comment hashtag Shiba Inu. Good luck. So the overview of how this works is that we will first go through the news and other relevant information that will impact prices, then we will look at the charts using technical analysis and other indicators. I have time-stamped it, so if you only want one type of analysis, then use the timestamps. So first off, we have a big news story that dropped today where a NASDAQ-listed firm raises $1.65 billion to launch Solana Treasury. Shares surge 128% pre-market. Forward Industries secured $1.65 billion in cash and stablecoin commitments via a PIPE led by Galaxy Digital, Jump Crypto, and Multicoin Capital. Ford stock jumped 128% in pre-market trading, while Solana's SOL token rose 2.3% on the news. I think this is a massive story because of the success it has brought to Ford stock, meaning it's highly likely we see other companies doing the same if we are going to see them getting 100% pumps just for acquiring crypto. For the rest of the news, I asked Grok to find the biggest stories, and I have went through them, and here's the biggest. Polymarket's US re-entry and CFTC approval. Prediction market platform. Polymarket acquired QCX for $112 million, gaining CFTC clearance to operate in the US again. With Trump Jr. on the advisory board and potential ties to Elon Musk's X, this could mainstream on-chain betting on events like elections, driving adoption and volumes in prediction markets. Impact. Bullish for crypto sentiment, potentially increasing retail inflows and positioning prediction tokens as a growth sector amid 2028 election hype. Watch for regulatory ripple effects. Broader finance market stories. Fed's September FOMC meeting. September 16th to 17th, the Federal Reserve's two-day meeting could confirm rate cuts, with markets pricing in a high chance amid cooling jobs data. Trump's push to influence Fed leadership adds uncertainty. Impact. Lower rates could spur risk-on moves in stocks and crypto. Expect volatility if cuts are smaller than anticipated, affecting Bitcoin ETFs. Key U.S. inflation and jobs data releases. This week's CPI, September 11th, and PPY. On the 12th data, plus NFP revisions and initial jobless claims September 13th are in focus. August jobs report already pushed stocks lower and yields to 5-month lows. Impact. Hotter inflation could delay Fed cuts, pressuring equities and crypto. Labor slowdowns signal recession risks, historically bearish for markets. ECB rate decision and Eurozone data. The European Central Bank meets this week, potentially cutting rates to combat inflation. UK GDP data also drops. Impact. Global rate divergence could weaken the dollar, benefiting crypto as a hedge. Ties into broader debt concerns, with U.S. borrowing sparking yield jumps. September's historical volatility, known as Wall Street's worst month, September often sees resets amid post-summer trading. Geopolitical risks add fuel. Impact. Broad sell-offs possible, but small caps and value stocks remain undervalued and could rally on Fed support. Here, I got Grok to create a summary table of these events. I recommend taking a screenshot and remembering these events. There isn't much else to cover in terms of news, so now we are going to take a look at Bitcoin, the general market, and altcoins on the charts and see what it reveals. Now, for the technical analysis, I am mostly going to be using my AI algorithm, which is really all you need to track market momentum and potential bottoms. I will quickly explain how it works so that the rest of the video makes sense. Essentially, it tracks potential bottoms, and these are pinged through a bright orange, blue, or green arrow. Next, it has a momentum tracker, and this pings a slightly darker, less bright arrow, as well as changes the background color to show if we are bullish or bearish. And lastly, it uses a variation of the 200-day moving average indicator, as this is great for making sure you catch every big move. And again, it uses a buy arrow with writing and a sell arrow with writing, as well as changes the color of the line. Bitcoin. Okay, so you can see we have the Bitcoin chart up right here, and we are currently getting a momentum signal change to the green side. We've been on the bearish side since the 16th of August, and we've been pretty much down only since then, other than a few green days last week. And now we're actually flipping bullish, which is a great end to the correction. I want to see this candle close and for this arrow to stay and for the background to stay green. Now, this is only confirmed when the candle is closed, so there is a slim chance that we could retrace and stay in the red momentum, and I don't think that's impossible. I think it's likely we could see a retest of this 200-day moving average before we move to the upside, but it's also just as likely that we front-run it. We've been front-running a lot of these signals this year, and it's likely we could do that again. I think September could become a front-running of a Q4 pump, because everyone's waiting for a slow market in September and a pump in October, November, and December. And I think it's very likely that we don't get it as easy as that and that we pump a little bit in September. Maybe we pump then dump before going into October, but I do think that things are looking bullish right now, and these kinds of indicators are just, you can't ignore them because of past success. As you can see, the last one was a bit of a fake out, but that was the signal changing at $120,000, which is obviously a hard level for Bitcoin to break past. But the last time before that, we pinged it at around $106,000, and that was before the run-up all the way to new all-time highs. So hopefully, we could see a kind of repeat of the June signal, and we'll see a run-up to retesting all-time highs or even making new all-time highs. A lot of people really believe this is the start of the run-up to $150,000 Bitcoin, and I don't think that's impossible, but I do think the chance of that is quite low now. I just can see we've actually also not had a 200-day EMA signal since the 20th of April. We've been pretty much up only since then. So a key thing to watch for the rest of this year is if Bitcoin flips to the downside on that, and that would be opening up a really good short opportunity. But before it would break past the 200-day EMA, you will get the flash red, and you want to really make sure you're keeping an eye out on these and taking shorts when they come up, because that's essentially the best chance you're going to get at catching a potential market top. It won't be the absolute top, but it'll be enough that you catch the majority of a downside move. And that's kind of what that indicator does. If we go a bit further back, you can see that we've not had a bottom signal since February, which led to a 10% pump. But we kind of got faked out back here. And we've not had a bottom signal all year other than that. We've not really been weak at all this year. It's been a very strong year for Bitcoin, so not really many bottom signals and not too much else to cover. But right now, it looks like we're about to flip to the bull side, and that is really exciting for Bitcoin. Now we're going to take a look at total crypto market caps. We're going to take a look at Ethereum, Solana, and the general market cap of altcoins to get a better idea of where the market's going to go over the next few weeks. Ethereum. So next up, we have Ethereum. And as you can see, Ethereum is currently in a bearish momentum, but it's well above its 200-day moving average. And I think similar to Bitcoin, it's going to flip green either today or within the next few days. And that will be a good sign that we could see Ethereum going up and finally breaking that $5,000 resistance level that it's been struggling to get past for years at this point. And there's not too much to cover on Ethereum here because we got our bottom signal on the 22nd of June, and it's pretty much been up only since then. We flipped bullish on the 200-day, flipped bullish on the momentum, and the correction looks like it's over. It looks like Ethereum has been really strong. It's been really strong this summer, and hopefully it can continue that into Q4, and we can see it hitting those $5,000, potentially even $6,000 targets. And it all depends on how high Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin really can go to those $150,000 levels, then price targets like $7,500 are on the table for Ethereum. But it would take extremely bullish market circumstances with rate cuts and a lot of other bullish fuel to add to the fire. Now we're going to take a look at Solana. Now, we're going to be taking a look at Solana here, and honestly, Solana has been extremely volatile the past couple of months. No surprise, really, as Ethereum has taken sort of all the attention away from Solana. It's made things look a bit uncertain, but it has still kept really bullish. It has stayed above its 200-day moving average for a long time now. And it looks like today we're getting a flip towards the green side on the momentum indicator. There's been a couple fakeouts on the momentum indicator recently, so take that with a grain of salt because we're flipping at a local high. Although that could mean that it looks like we could maybe see Solana start a run up to potentially $225. I think Solana is one that will maybe struggle to get past its previous all-time high, because its previous all-time high was fueled by the Trump meme coin hype, and it's going to be hard for Solana to match that level of demand this year. Again, it's not impossible, and Solana has been really strong. It looks like we're going to get a strong Solana ETF narrative. We've seen that bullish news story we spoke about earlier. That is definitely a bullish narrative for Solana right now, and it does look likely that we're flipping bullish to a potential run to $250. And in an ideal scenario, a new Q4 all-time high. Again, with Solana, We flipped bullish on the 200 DMA on the 10th of July, and we've been almost up only since then. We've had one retest of the moving average, and Solana bounced really strongly, which is a great sign. We've not had our bottom signal since April 6th, which was really the entire market's bottom, and that was at about $105, which is when you would have entered that trade. So we're up over 100% since then. So right now, the entries you get in the market aren't market bottoms. They're not even close to market bottoms, but we're still getting bullish momentum, and we could maybe get another run-up in Q4. We won't get similar price action to last year with election bullishness, but we should still get strong price action, especially fueled by rate cuts. Now, next up, we're going to be looking at the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we're going to move on to altcoins. Okay, so now this is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, so it's a good idea of essentially an altcoin tracker. And as you can see, we're currently in a bearish momentum, but once again, I think it looks like we're going to get that bullish flip today, or at some point this week at least, and that will be a really positive indicator to see. Now, as you can see, the last momentum flip was a bit of a fake out, and the market's just been sideways here really. So we've not really had up or down momentum, but the chart has to give it an up or down momentum. So looking at that, it does look like we could get a flip into bullishness, especially with rate cuts coming in and positive news for altcoins. As we mentioned about the Solana news story earlier, and Solana is included on this chart, we're nowhere near the 200-day moving average. The bottom signal pinged on the 22nd of July, and we've been up only since then. And things look good, but again, we're not near bottoms. We're not at levels where you would go all in, but we are at levels where getting some altcoin exposure for a potential rate cut explosion is a good idea. And it's the move that I am making. Now, if we take a look at a long-term chart of this, we can see that we peaked in 2024 at a $1.16 trillion market cap. And that's a level we'll maybe want to watch out for a potential top this year. But I also think it's very likely that we could go up and hit this sort of parallel channel top of around 1.4 trillion, and maybe that would be closer to around this time early next year. And I think that's a good potential level to get into shorts. And we'll keep an eye out on that, and we'll do updates on that when we get closer to the dates. But once again, for this total, we're hoping to see a bullish flip on the momentum. We're well above the 200-day moving average. We've not had a bottom signal for a long time. Things are looking bullish, but it's definitely not levels to go all in at if we're being 100% real and honest here. So now, we're going to look at certain altcoins. Make sure you comment what altcoins you want to see next in the videos, and I'll choose the altcoins that have the most comments, and I'll use them for analysis in the next videos. XRP. So the first altcoin we're going to be looking at is the coin that sucked up a lot of the attention this year, and that is XRP. And the reason it's got a lot of attention this year is because it has been unbelievably strong. As you can see, we've got a bullish flip on the 200-day moving average all the way back on the 10th of November, and it hasn't gone under it since then. It has retested it twice and has bounced positively both times. But as you can see, looking at more relevant recent data according to the momentum indicator, we're in bearish momentum. But again, I could definitely see that flipping bullish, especially if XRP gets over 63 cents. I could see it flipping to the green side, and that will put us in a position where we can maybe see XRP retesting that sort of local high at 75 cents. And that's a level where XRP has struggled to get by, but if it does, we could be looking at a run all the way up to 90 cents, maybe even $1. These are big numbers for XRP. It has performed exceptionally well, and I would be very surprised to see it be any different in a rate cut Q4 environment. Again, with XRP, you know, there's not been many bottom signals because it's been so strong, but the most recent one was on the 2nd of August, and it's up over 20% since then. It went up to over 20% within a couple days and retraced, and it looks like it's kind of held at that same support level, so that would have been a good place to re-enter the market. But for now, it looks like XRP is looking quite bullish, and it has, as I've said, stayed up above its 200-day moving average. It's done everything you'd want to see a strong coin doing, and I expect more of the same in a rate cut environment. Doge. Next up, we're going to be looking at Dogecoin, and once again, Dogecoin has actually had quite a strong year. A lot of that has been fueled by Elon Musk and his Doge-related organization and mentions. And although that's no longer a thing, it still fueled a lot of the Doge narrative and put the word Doge into every single mainstream media platform, which I believe helped the growth of the meme coin. And Doge has been a really good coin to trade this year because it seems to really follow its momentum, other than in August. As you can see, the last time momentum shifted bullish, we got a 65 to 67% pump, as well as a flip to the green on the 200-day EMA. And we've had a bottom signal on the 2nd of August. And that really was the bottom. We have been almost up only since then, with some choppiness recently, but currently up over 25% from that bottom signal. And most importantly, it looks like we are going to get that bullish flip on Dogecoin. that bullish momentum flip on Dogecoin, which means longs look quite good, especially because it's maintained that 200-day moving average support. Dogecoin looks really good for a long right now, and that could indicate that a lot of meme coins look good. So we're going to take a look at a couple of other meme coins right now and give them the same type of analysis. PENGU. So next up, we're going to be looking at the best performing meme coin of this year, or of this most recent sort of summer bull run, and that is PENGU. And as you can see, once again, we are looking to get that bullish flip on PENGU today, confirmed on the daily candle close. But I think we should get that bullish flip, and that would be really interesting to see, as I think it's quite likely we will see PENGU getting past that sort of previous high, meaning you could get up to 40% gains just from it retesting its previous high, which is something you really want to see. Of course, when you're trading PENGU, watch out. Make sure you use lower leverage because it's a lower market cap coin, and there's less chart data. So these indicators aren't perfect because there's less data. Obviously, the indicators work better on Bitcoin, where there's an unlimited amount of data, and on Ethereum as well. But you know, as you can see, the last couple momentum switches have been really good. That the bearish one actually pinged the bearish momentum flip even on 2 green days, which is, it shows you guys that it doesn't just say, oh, it's a green candle, we're gonna go up. It shows the real, actual momentum of the market, and it felt that the market was getting weak, and that signal would have pinged it at a 34% short gain, which is amazing. And now we're getting that bullish flip, so hopefully, we see 30 to 40% gains again. And you know, especially with PENGU getting up to that level, you know you're up 40% as we get into resistance. But in a rate cut Q4 environment, we could really see PENGU retesting that and going up and seeing these 6 cent, 7-8 cent levels. And PENGU has been, once again, one of the strongest performing coins in the market this year. It has massive backing, and it's got a great team behind it. They've got great popularity on social media. PENGU looks like a really strong coin, and it's worked really well on the indicators. It doesn't overperform or anything like that. Of course, the 200-day moving average doesn't really work too well because PENGU's not that old, so there aren't that many days of data to use. But the momentum flips have all been really accurate, with the most recent bullish momentum flip printing a 40% gain, which is amazing. Hopefully, we can see more of the same during this Q4 bull environment. But even a 100% pump on low leverage can make you a lot of money. But be careful with the entry, because we're coming off the back of 2 very green days. We're up 7% today, we were up 7% yesterday, so we might retrace a little bit tomorrow before we make that pump up. Maybe we see something like we break out of this trend line, retest it, and then move up, and this would be your ideal entry. And you don't need to snipe an entry though if you use low leverage. You can always just kind of dollar cost average your entry, and I believe that's one of the best strategies to use. But PENGU looks really strong. It's definitely a coin I would keep a close eye on for Q4 and rate cuts. PEPE. Next up, we're looking at PEPE. Now, PEPE has not been the strongest coin this bull run, but it has still had its times of extreme pumps. And it looks like, again, similar to a lot of other coins, it's flipping that momentum to bullish, which is a key signal, especially across this PENGU, DOGE, and a lot of other coins. This flip to the bullish momentum shows that the market in general could actually be heading towards a potential front run of a Q4 bull run. And especially with PEPE, if it were to get back to its 200-day moving average, that'll be another bull signal to add to it. Another bull signal, and things start to look really good for PEPE right now. Although it hasn't been the strongest coin, as you can see, we've not really had too many bottom signals. There was one on the 2nd of August and it saw 20% gains before retracing, and it's never really been down more than 10%. So if you took, you know, a low leverage long trade, you would still be in that. And I think that would be a good idea to hold. Same with the previous bottom signal. You know, we printed 60% gains, which is good for a coin of PEPE's size and market cap. It's still printing really good gains. And yeah, there's not too much to cover here. It's flipping bullish. You know, your entry might not be the best to dive into leveraged longs right now, but maybe over the next few days, dollar cost average some positions and hope that momentum stays green, that this is the start of bullish momentum into the rate cut run. SHIB. Now, for the final meme coin of the video, we're of course gonna do SHIB. You know it's a channel favorite, so it's important to look at it. And once again, similar to the others, it's getting that flip to the bullish, very similar to PEPE. It's under its 200-day moving average. It almost had a strong breakout, but I just think market circumstances, the timing was wrong. And I think that's been the case for SHIB a lot. It's been quite slow this bull run compared to previous bull runs, and it's sort of following other tokens' movements instead of making its own movements. And this leads to it being tied to everything, so it didn't really break through its 200-day moving average quick enough, and this led to the moving average becoming a level of resistance. and we don't really want to see that. But what we can see is that we've had some bottom signals on SHIB, and they've performed very well. The most recent one is only putting in an 18% gain, but it was in the space of about a week or two. And when we look at this sort of recent price action, we've not had any bottom signals here, even with the downward momentum. SHIB hasn't been that bearish, which is actually quite a bullish indicator because it shows that there's more strength than weakness in SHIB. But that's something to really keep an eye on as we go into this rate cut environment. Now, SHIB is an interesting coin because it normally, on average, doesn't outperform most coins, but occasionally it can just put in these insane price spikes where, it'll pump hundreds of % in the matter of a day or a matter of a few days. And it's difficult to say you should be on the sidelines for those kind of movements. But you maybe do want to be ready for those kinds of movements. We definitely don't want to be sidelined because we talk about SHIB so much, and missing a big movement is never good. So again, it could be a good time to start getting situated in some altcoins. I've spoken about that a lot in this video, and I'm actually going to be bringing out a top 20 altcoins to buy this month video that should be coming in the next day or two. So make sure you turn on channel notifications and keep an eye out for that. But hopefully, this is really the start of some bullish momentum for SHIB. But it's definitely needed. We want to see it flipping this 200-day moving average and make a move to the upside, and hopefully an explosive move like last time. We got an 80% pump. On leverage, you take your gains and you leave happy, and that's the move for this Q4. HYPERLIQUID. Next up, we have a coin that I was talking about non-stop at the start of this year. It's been one of my favorite coins in crypto over the past year, and that is HYPERLIQUID. It's been very strong. They've created an amazing product. It's one of the most useful crypto tokens that has one of the best businesses behind it. It's a very, very, very strong altcoin. And that strength has been shown all year. Now, of course, there's not too much chart data, so we don't have a 200-day moving average. We've not had a bottom signal on this on the Bybit exchange anyway. We should have them on other exchanges where there's more data. But we trade on Bybit, so it's important that we use the Bybit chart on TradingView. And as we can see from the more recent data, HYPERLIQUID has just been in this upwards parallel channel. It's respected that a lot. You could have drawn this channel and it would have got confirmed on the 22nd of June. Had you stuck to it, you could have easily bought at this level here. You could have sold it here. And hype has been strong. But there is also a chance that we see a potential top coming sometime soon up at here, and that's a potential heads up for the market really because it has pumped 10% today. I wouldn't jump into leveraged longs right now. I would maybe wait till we get that parallel channel retest, something like this, down to this middle level, and then a run-up. These timings aren't exact. It could take longer, it could take less time, but you see the point, you see the general movement. Now, as you can see, HYPERLIQUID flipped bullish on Friday. So this is a good sign of what this indicator can do because I can see we flipped bullish on Friday. Had you even got a bad entry, you would never have been down more than 4%, and you're now up 9% within 3 days. And that's if you got a bad entry. If you do dollar cost average your entry, if you get in instead of $4.70, you may be getting in around $4.64, $4.65, you're going to get your 10% gains. And this is just good proof of what happens when we do get these sort of bullish flips. Ideally, we see HYPERLIQUID soar past this level, but it has performed so well this year that I don't know how much more gas it has to keep pushing higher, especially because so many big names like Arthur Hayes have been very bullish on HYPERLIQUID for a long time. HYPERLIQUID can't really attract more big names to promote it than it already has. But as one of the strongest performing altcoins for a reason, that's because it's a great exchange with top backing. Really good usage numbers, and we really could see how it could stay in the top 10 cryptos this year, and I think it would deserve to be up there. So make sure you keep an eye out on HYPERLIQUID going into Q4, guys. CHAINLINK. So the next coin I have is CHAINLINK, and CHAINLINK has been a coin that's gotten a lot of attention the past week or so, the past few weeks. And that's because it kind of performed well from this bottom signal here. As we can see, it's up over 100% since that bottom signal, and yeah, it looked really bullish the past few weeks. Currently in downward momentum, but it sort of put in all of that redness in 2 days. It's down about peaked 15% down from that signal, down currently about 12%. And it's quite likely we're going to see a flip to the bullish. But CHAINLINK isn't a coin that I've liked so much this run. I think it's maybe about high market cap to get those really big moves, but it also still has kind of risky volatility associated with it. But I was just including it in the video because I know all you guys like it, but it does really look like we're going to get again similar to a lot of coins flipped to the bullishness and potential run-up. What do you think will happen to the crypto market in September? Let me know in the comments below and make sure to subscribe with notifications on to not miss the best crypto to buy now video. Thank you for watching and goodbye.